Hi everyone, welcome back, and let's pick up where we left off last time. Now, if you remember in our last video, we were looking at two different data sets, both of which had 5 members. Data set A, all 5 members were the number 3. In data set B, the 5 numbers that made up the data set were the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in our last video, we talked about a little bit about what descriptive statistics are, and we calculated the standard deviation of both data set A, which was 0 because that data set's not spread out at all, and the standard deviation of data set B, which worked out to be 1.58, which makes sense because data set B is considerably more spread out than data set A is. Now in this video, we're going to take it to the next step and talk about standard error of the mean and how we use that in our graphs to make what are called 95% confidence intervals. So let me just flip that over here. Let me flip this piece of paper over here. Okay. Now, the formula for standard error of the mean is actually a much easier calculation than the formula for standard deviation. Standard error of the mean is simply the standard deviation divided by the square root of n, which is the number of members in that data set. So standard error of the mean for data set A is going to be 0, because that's what its standard deviation was, divided by the square root of 5, which is 0. That's pretty easy, right? Standard error of the mean for data set B is going to be its standard deviation, which was 1.58. And if you're not sure where that's coming from, watch the previous video I recorded on standard deviation, divided by the square root of 5. So if you put that in your calculator, let's see, square root of 5, yeah, I can't do that in my head. Square root of 5 is 2.236. So 1.58 divided by the square root of 5, and I get 0.707. That's the standard error of the mean for data set B. Now, big whoop, what do we do with it? Well, we can use the standard error of the mean to build something called 95% confidence intervals. Okay, and before I tell you what a 95% confidence interval is, let me tell you what it isn't. Okay, a 95% confidence interval does not mean you are 95% confident in the data. That is absolutely not what it means. What a 95% confidence interval means is that if you repeat an experiment 100 times, 95 of those 100 times, or 95% of the time, the mean is going to fall within that interval. One more time, 95% confidence interval means if you repeat an experiment 100 times, 95 of those times, the mean will fall within that interval. Now, to figure out a 95% confidence interval, you need to know the mean of the data set, okay? And for data set B, our mean was 3, okay? And to build a 95% confidence interval in a graph, you need to know what the upper limit of that confidence interval is and what the lower limit of that confidence interval is, okay? To find the upper limit, you start at the mean and you add 2 times the standard error of the mean. To find the lower limit, you start at the mean again, but this time you subtract 2 times the standard error of the mean. Okay? So for data set B, our upper limit, I'm just going to abbreviate it UL, is going to be 3 because that was our mean. If you want, you might want to go back and review the prior video if you're not sure where that 3 came from. And I'm going to add 2 times our standard error of the mean, which is 7.07. So let me put that in my trusty calculator here. 0.707 times 2 plus 3 is 4.414. That is the upper limit. Now to find the lower limit, which I'm just going to abbreviate LL, it's going to be 3 minus 2 times 0.707, because that was our standard error of the mean. So 2 times 0.707 equals, and we're going to subtract that from 3, and I get 1.586. Okay, now let's say we were graphing this data. Okay, and we had our bar graph for, here's data set B, here's data set A. And let's say I was graphing the mean of both data sets, and let's say it was, I don't know, centimeters or something. Okay, so let's scale this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, both of them had the same mean. So if I was doing a bar graph, if I graph the means, A and B would look exactly the same, right? Now, for 20 years, I taught ninth grade biology. And in ninth grade biology, I would not expect my students to calculate or understand standard deviation or standard error of the mean. They would graph the means of both data sets, and they would say the mean of both data sets is the same, and we'd all be happy. In ninth grade bio, that would be fine. In AP Bio, we kick it up a notch. We graph the means, but we also graph the 95% confidence intervals. Now, the upper limit of the 95% confidence interval for data set B is 4.14, 4.414. So that would probably be somewhere up here, right? And the lower limit is 1.568, so probably somewhere down here. And then you just connect them with a vertical line like this. Now, what does this mean? This means if I went out and repeated the same experiment that gave me data set B, 95% of the time, I would expect the mean to fall somewhere in that interval, somewhere between the upper and lower limit of that 95% confidence intervals. Occasionally, would the mean fall outside that interval? Yes, and we would expect that to happen. How often? That's right, 5% of the time. Okay, now for data set A, okay, if you remember for data set A, let's just write A over here, the standard deviation was 0. And since standard error of the mean is standard deviation divided by the square root of n, the standard error of the mean would also be 0. So the upper limit and the lower limit of the 95% confidence interval would be the same as the mean, right on 3. Okay, now let's talk about what that means. In data set A, there basically is no confidence interval. It's right on top of the mean. And what that means is that the data points are much closer together. If the 95% confidence interval is small, there is less of a range in the data, and the data points are all closer together. However, in data set B, we have a 95% confidence interval that's much bigger, which means the data is much more spread out. Does that make sense? The more spread out the data is, the bigger that 95% confidence interval is. Now, if we go back to the formula for standard error of the mean, which is standard deviation over n, how could we kind of tighten up that standard error of the mean? How could we get that confidence interval smaller? Well, standard error of the mean is inversely proportional to the number of members in your data set. In other words, the more data points you have in your data set, the smaller your standard error of the mean. Okay? So how could a scientist repeat their experiment to get a narrower range of data? Well, statistics tells us bigger sample size. Now, I'm hoping that many of our students in AP Bio kind of inherently know that a study that uses 1,000 subjects is probably more reliable and better than the study that uses only 5. In other words, I'm guessing most of our students understand, let's hope they do, that sample size matters. The bigger the sample size, the more seriously we should take the study. And this formula for standard error of the mean is telling us why sample size matters. So I tell my kids, look, you already know this. We are just slapping some more accurate, mathematical, complicated terminology on it. Sample size matters. Why? Because of this. Does that kind of make sense? Now, there's another reason that 95% confidence intervals and standard errors of the mean are important. Okay, let's pretend I have two more data sets. Let's just call them C and D. Okay, and let's say the mean of C and D are the same. They're a little bit lower. I'm trying to draw that so that they're around 2. And let's say the 95% confidence interval for C is that big. Let's say we go through and we calculate that. And the 95% confidence interval for D is really super small. Okay, so what can we say about these data sets? Well, if you look, the 95% confidence intervals of B and C overlap, don't they? The lowest point in the 95% confidence interval for data set B is lower than the highest point that it is for C. Since those 95% confidence intervals overlap, we can't say for sure there is a difference between the two data sets. So if the 95% confidence intervals overlap, we have to say the data is inconclusive. We can't say for sure that there is a statistically significant difference between those two data sets. Okay, now let's take a look at D, and let's compare data set D to data set A. Do the 95% confidence intervals for data sets A and D overlap? And I hope I drew them well enough that you can see that they do not overlap. So if the 95% confidence intervals do not overlap, we can say that there is a statistically significant difference between the data sets. So from this graph, we would say there is not a statistically significant, or we could say the data is inconclusive about A and B because A's 95% confidence interval obviously overlaps with B's because it's completely enclosed in that. The data is inconclusive about B and C because their 95% confidence intervals overlap. But if we look at A and D's 95% confidence intervals do not overlap. So we say there is a statistically significant difference between those two data sets. All right. I hope that makes sense. I'll see you next time, and I hope you guys have a great day.